What's good, YouTube? Steel here, and in today's video we're taking on the 7th of 8 expert solo battles introduced in Wisdom of Sea and Sky, that being Umbreon EX. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask y'all to please consider subscribing as the 1K goal gets closer and closer, so thank you in advance for that. As always, my videos are designed to show you how to take on the solo battles while completing the task of 3 diamonds or less, as well as using the specified type, which in this case is Psychic only. And before I break down what list we'll be using, I always like to look at the opponent's list, which when looking at it, one thing truly stands out, and that is hand disruption. They're playing 2 silvers, Mars, red card, and 2 dark pendants, making this list by far the hardest to truly prepare for, because no matter what you do, there's a chance that they just play one of these cards and completely mess up your strategy. But hand disruption aside, which is ultimately RNG, what we can prepare for, the Pokemon they're playing, which include Absol, which is targets our bench just like Hitmonlee did way back when, which they use to hit your backline to eventually use Umbreon to drag it back out, as Umbreon's Dark Chase is essentially a Cyrus. Thus, no Pokemon is really safe, whether it's in the active or in the bench. They have a way of getting to it. Also, Darkrai is very respectable, and although it's not the main focus of their strategy, and they don't tend to use it very, I guess, aggressively, it's still something that we have to respect when it comes to deck building. And with all of that in mind, the deck that we'll be using is Togekiss from Space Time Smackdown. Honestly, I think if y'all seen any of my Psychic only videos in the past, you might have already anticipated that Togekiss was the answer to the puzzle, but it's never looked anything like this. As always, our card choices are very intentional, down to only playing 1 Pokeball. Everything was for a reason. Due to the hand disruption in the opposing deck, there will be attempts that end up in failure due to things outside of our control, but I still tried to make the list as consistent as possible, starting with the newest edition of Cleffa. Cleffa is perfect for this challenge specifically because whether you're going first or second, it essentially always guarantees at least 1 search, but most of the time it gets 2 before it could even get taken down, mainly because Absol could only hit your bench. Then Umbreon EX requires 2 energy to attack, not to mention just evolving, and Darkrai only pings for 20. Thus, Cleffa Opener guarantees some insane consistency. Everything else is pretty standard to Togekiss, as we're obviously playing Cynthia, so that once you attack the 1 time, the second attack is able to knock out an Umbreon or a Darkrai at full health. Iono and Pokecom are for added consistency. Guzma gets rid of those annoying pendants. Sabrina serves as both defense, installing an Umbreon attack, or offense to bring out a weaker target. Lily essentially blanks an Umbreon attack, while Potion and Cape serve as ways to mitigate some of Darkrai's ship damage, especially early on. Overall, this deck is probably the most consistent of any Togekiss has ever been, and I truly hope it works for y'all as well as it did for me. As always, there will be gameplay showcasing how to play the deck. So with that, I'd like to thank y'all for watching, and above all else, stay pro. Alright, we get to go second, which I would say is probably ideal. Maybe not with, I guess Cleffa kind of makes going first. Cleffa makes it where either one is okay, but yeah. Getting the energy advantage, it's actually more important for just them not to have it, more so than us having it, right? The important thing is them being a little bit slower, I feel. Alright, then we go draw. Also, one thing to note is that this deck has a lot, and I mean a lot, of hand disruption. So here I'm stuck between I'm debating whether I should put down the cape or not. I will. But most likely we're gonna get either hit by Mars or Silver or Red Card or all of the above. It's great. Well, not all of the above. I mean Red Card into Silver or something like that. But yeah. Go here. The good thing is that Cleffa could survive the Darkrai ping. And as long as it's in the active, it can't, it doesn't get knocked out by Absol, right? So although Cleffa is a liability health-wise, it usually is pretty resilient, all things considered. Alright, so let's go research first. Cynthia, Togekiss. Okay, so had we seen Rare Candy here, then we would just charged up Togepi, gone up, but instead I'll Potion here. Put down another Togepi. And once again, Twinkly Call. Again, the Darkrai cannot knock Cleffa out yet. The only thing that would have been rough is that had they led the Eevee, they could have technically been going into Umbreon here. The other thing is that Darkrai is live next turn, right? Oof. Alright, so this is the situation we find ourselves in, where I guess technically, yeah, because I was gonna Iono and risk, but realistically the best chance we have here is to Sabrina. Their Umbreon is basically stuck Because it requires 2 to run away, right? I mean, to retreat. We evolve here. So if they find a way to bring out the Darkrai, we have the health, right? Yeah, because funny enough, Cleffa has no more targets in the deck. So it did its job perfectly. And we start attacking now. The only thing we have to worry about is healing up Togekiss maybe, and not even. Because Togekiss would be at 120. Oof, and better. Even better. And with 6 cards left in deck, the chances of finding rare candy for like a follow-up Togekiss is probably pretty high. Again, we do survive their best hand. Actually, they might be playing red, now that I think about it. They are playing red, so it's a good thing that we drew the Lily. Energy here, sure. And I didn't even think about the perfect curve of 40 into 60 there. So that's great. Realistically, they'll probably send out Absol now, but it'll just be to knock out Cleffa. And Togekiss is swinging from 120 to 170 for the rest of the game, right? So we're good. They hit the Iono. That's one thing I did notice about the opponent using Silver. They don't really know how to use Silver. Or they don't target like the right card every now and then. But in this situation, I don't think it mattered. And look, we drew it anyways. Alright, so we'll take the knockout, and then next turn, with the help of Cynthia, we one-shot Darkrai, right? I forgot to allocate the energy. But realistically, you don't need more than the 2 on each, right? Alright, I was kind of worried that they would Mars or something and that we would brick. But lucky for us, just go Cynthia. Also, where was rare candy this whole game? But luckily we didn't need it. But I would have kind of been upset if this example went to nothing just because we didn't find a way to get its Togekiss. Which I guess shows the importance of playing the middle line. And just like that, that's one example. As you saw, it was pretty easy. Yes, the Cleffa eventually got knocked out, so the whole winning without giving a point gets a little tough when you're playing Cleffa. But as you saw, I was able to wall up Darkrai for a bit. Had they started Absol and you have Cleffa up front, they can't really do anything about that either. But as always, we do more than one example. So that's just example 1. Let's jump to example number 2. Alright, going second. Again, which is, I guess, lucky for us, but what I mean, like, okay, I was about to repeat the exact same thing I said in the first example. Alright. Fun fact about the Absol, by the way. Even if it doesn't have any targets, they will build it up and they will swing to the bench. Which reminds me of, like, the Hitmonlee back in the, I think it was Gallade. It might have been the Gallade one, where the way to beat it is just putting any Pokemon in the active, because they got hard stuck on using Hitmonlee. It was weird. Alright, so we have 2 options here. We can start building up Togepi, but then that gives Absol a target. I guess for science, I'm gonna do this. We could technically cape. I'll hold off. Yeah. We could try to hold Togepi and maybe have it only use it once we have the entire line to go through. Like maybe a rare candy, Togekiss, anything. But I actually want to see if it's correct. Because in my experience, they just go Absol and start swinging to the back line. There goes Cynthia. Alright, so I stand corrected. But I think that's fine anyways. Let's go double Togepi now. Like, it doesn't change anything that we would have done up to this point, right? So we go Twinkly Call. I guess technically we'd be on pace to go to Togekiss now, but our Togepi would have been getting cooked up to this point. Oof, and they went for the one that didn't have energy. Lucky for us, because obviously, if y'all know, Umbreon would essentially... They could back up to Umbreon and grab anything from the bench. That's like the whole combo with Absol, or like the beauty of Absol. Technically no reason to charge this Togepi, really. Just in case they red card or Mars, because they already used double silver, right? We want to have more chances of seeing Togekiss, so we'll put down the cape. I almost want Sabrina as well, but there's no need. There's no need. Let's go. Let's make a call to the last Pokemon in the deck. We've yet to draw a rare candy, by the way, which is kind of crazy. Right, now this is like uncharted territory for me. I don't know if they're gonna go for the Cleffa or if they're gonna get Togepi because we can. Okay. No rare candy, huh? Alright, so we definitely evolve here. Part of me wants the Sabrina, mainly because to keep the Lily in rotation, like to keep the Lily in hand. But realistically, if they stay with the Umbreon up front, we knock it out next turn no matter what. Actually, no, because of the... We're actually going to lose the boost of 60 here if we let the Umbreon go. Alright, let's do this. They might actually stay with the Absol to get the knockout now that I think about it. But yeah, had we... They actually countered our strategy had we just sat there. Because they could grab the Togepi and it drops Togekiss attack to... Back to 60, right? Let's see what they end up doing here. That's probably best case scenario for us. So no longer can they downgrade the Togekiss attack. Although technically we are up against the wall here. Alright, we got a Guzma because if that Absol hits the Lily, we're in a really bad spot. And not the Absol, the Pendant, obviously. Absol can't hit... if the Pendant hit Lily, we'd be in a tough spot. So all we really need is a top deck of... Interesting that they went Absol. I was about to say... Oh, I can see what they're going for. Never mind, they didn't do it. I was like, they could technically charge Dark right now. And have Absol just be a wall, but I don't think the opponent is like thinking that far ahead. Uh-oh. They were thinking further, actually. If we don't find Lily or Cynthia off the top, thank God. That got too close for my comfort. But again, what were the odds of that? Lily, actually, it was we were at 9 cards. Have we used potion this turn? Okay, so technically there was actually no potion wouldn't matter because whatever, doesn't matter. We won. We just take it. We take it and we make out like bandits, I guess. That's the term I was looking for, maybe? I don't know. Regardless, okay, this one was a lot uglier of an example than the first one. It didn't go as smoothly. But as you can see, we still got it at the end, right? So realistically, again, really good deck for this challenge specifically. Obviously, we're not playing cards like Comfey. We cut out Sigalith, cards like that. We want all the energy we have to go to the Togepi / like the entire Togekiss line. Clef was really good because although it is weak at 30 HP, as long as it's in the active, they can't really knock it out early. You get at least a search or two before that gets knocked out. Looking at the list real quick. Yeah, everything else seems pretty self-explanatory. As always, thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing. We're so close to 1,000. And above all else, stay pro.